I'm a Carpenter fan, like the director. Like back then, you didn't have like all this CGI. I watched so many documentaries on like how people produce things. Love the creativity, like back in like the 70s, 80s.
It's unmatched.
It's amazing.
Practical effects and things like that, and just the way that things were done. It's exactly that. You had to get creative because you didn't have all the CGI and the things that you have nowadays. So you had to get creative with it. And practical effects, it made me think about animation and the way that they make animation now. Some of these hand-drawn animations have so much more character to them. Practical effects for versus some of the CGI stuff, like some of it is just so much more characters, more creativity. And it's the same thing for like sometimes with animation, like something about like the 80s, the 90s, the 70s for and stuff like that. There's just something about the creativity to it that.
No, I completely agree. Like
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Side Projekt Podcast. Yes! Let's take a sip from our underrated consoles mug. Yes! Got the, oh man, is it the 16 ounce? Is this a 16 ounce? I should probably know my own merch, and I don't. I think it's either 12 or 16 ounces, and then this is either 10 or 12 ounces. It's something like that. But got the underrated consoles. We've had it out on the merch store, sideprojectpodcast.com for the merch. We've had it out on the merch store for quite a while, but I actually haven't even put it on the table and had it here on the show myself for some reason for quite a while. But we got it. It's absolutely amazing. I love it. This is like, I think this is my first time seeing it in person, even though we've had it up on the merch store for like a long time because I'm lagging behind on my own merch. It's great promotion. I'm doing phenomenal today. But if you want to get one of these mugs, such as the Underrated Consoles mug, the Run It Up mug, or the Projekt Things mug, or even a way over here by the Chazosaurus Rex, we have a Project Park mug. You can get it on the Side Projekt merch store via sideprojectpodcast.com. Remember, this project with a K. And we've got all sorts of other things up there too, such as the tees. I'm rocking one right now, the Run It Up tank, actually, the Run It Up tanks, because summertime is still hot. You know what I mean? So if you're out there in the heat, you definitely want to get some of these tanks. We got all kinds of other tanks up there. And then, and who knows, man, the sweaters, they're on sale right now. I don't think I've ever changed them, actually. I ran a summer sale for the hoodies one time. Get the hoodies now because they're going to be off. And then come winter, when you actually need to wear them, they're going to be a lot more. Let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb. So you get them now and you get them like half off or something like that. I ran that summer sale like 3 years ago, I think. And then I just never changed it. So I think they're still like on sale. I don't know. You have to ask Char. You got to figure it out. I have no idea. But, if you want to get some Side Projekt merch, I'd appreciate you from the bottom of my heart if you do get it, and you can get that on sideprojectpodcast.com. Real quick, before we get into the bread and butter of today's episode, if you're in the Virginia area or surrounding areas, or even if you're not and you feel like flying on in, this October 25th, Cosplay WorldCon is having a special Halloween one-day mini-con in Chesapeake, Virginia. $20 passes, $40 VIP, $60 friends and family pack. There's going to be contests, meetups, photo ops, panels, artists, vendors, special guests such as the recently announced Asylum Harley, Haunted Nova Cause, and Gravel Road Cosplay, amongst many more to come, all in a Halloween-themed one-day mini-con. If it sounds like something that you want to be a part of, visit cosplayworldcon.com. Grab your tickets today and bring your Halloween spirit to Chesapeake, Virginia. And not Spirit Halloween, because those don't exist anymore. They don't exist. They're gone. Where'd they go? I don't know. I think they're gone, right? Is that Spirit Halloween that's gone? I know Michael's is gone, but they're getting absorbed. No, Joanne is gone, but they're getting absorbed or something like that by Michael's. Was Halloween Spirit gone too? I don't know. I digress. Let's get into the bread and butter of this week's episode, because my guest this week is a phenomenal cosplayer and a full-of-life personality with cosplays ranging from Marvel to DC to gaming to horror. Her Castlevania cosplays are definitely a standout. And then, sticking with gaming, her Reptile from Mortal Kombat is yet another standout. Proud to be a fellow Zaterran alongside you. From bringing Rogue to life to her iterations of Storm, equally all amazing, with her horror-based cosplay, something that I don't get to focus on enough, with the likes of the Candyman, or stepping outside the box with Edward Scissor Hands, a previous cosplayer of the week here on the show. It's been a long time coming. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together and give a warm welcome to Moonberry Pie.
Hi. Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Hell yeah. It's been a long time coming. Featured you as a cosplay of the week not too long ago, one episode ago, I think, actually, with Googs and Paper Moon Cosplay, and met you a few times at a couple different cons. Got the opportunity to shoot only once, I think, right? Like for a short.
Yeah, just once.
That sucks. Like I think it was in passing at MegaCon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we were on our way to go do something else, and I was like, we got to do something real quick. Like just like
but
real
I loved
quick.
It though.
We got to do more at some hopefully at some upcoming cons. We got to do some more stuff. But I'm stoked to finally have you here. It's awesome to get to talk to you and get to learn a little bit more about you and give everybody else the opportunity to learn more about you too. You want to get into it? You ready to get into it?
Let's get into it. Let's do it.
You have a flurry of different cosplays, as I said in the intro, ranging from various genres and characters, but everyone has a story of how they got into cosplay in the first place. The how, the where, what was your first ever cosplay? Like, how did your journey into the cosplay community begin in the first place?
Well, my best friend, she actually been cosplaying for a very long time, but she's kind of like quiet in it. She like kind of mostly does it by herself and don't hang out with much people. And she was like, "Oh, you should come to New York Comic Con with me." And I was like, "All right, I do it." I was like, "But I'm doing Storm." I'm doing Storm.
Yeah.
So I did like the old school like 90s Storm, all black, and I was like addicted ever since because it's like, I've always been into this kind of stuff, but I just like a little shy about it. And this was like back in like 2018.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Or 19 or so. So I've been cosplaying for a little while, but like diving into the community is pretty recent for me.
Yeah, that's crazy. So like your first con ever was New York Comic Con too?
Yeah, it was.
And like the big boy, like one of the biggest cons in the world, like right out the bat. Did you feel like what some people feel? I mean, you're kind of forgive me if I'm maybe wrong, but you're kind of, like I said, you're like a full of life personality. You seem like you do fine in like crowds and whatnot like that. But like as a cosplayer, did you find New York Comic Con for your first time overwhelming, or were you kind of like, oh man, this is awesome? Like where were you at?
Yes, I am very outgoing, but like even to this day, today, like if I go to a huge con, I just need like 30 minutes to kind of settle in. So like when I first went to New York Comic Con, I was like, whoa, okay, all right.
Yeah. Some people get
it was
a little
bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
I still loved it, but it takes me a little minute to like settle in it.
Yeah, 100%. Some people see something as big as like, because there's all walks of life out there. Why is it not focused? Hold on, focus on me, my camera. There's all walks of life out there. People that are super outgoing and don't care, dive right into something. And there's others that do get a little overwhelmed or intimidated by big crowds or something like that, or maybe they're not confident in their cosplays. You know what I mean? It's something like New York Comic Con. I've had others tell me again. People will remain nameless, but others tell me like, man, went to New York Comic Con for my first time, and it's like you walk in and it's just like the high ceilings and and there's just thousands of people, and people are just that New York attitude running around screaming and yelling. You know what I mean? And people are like, man, it was so overwhelming, and it's like all different walks of life. So hearing New York Comic Con for your first time, I was like, I wonder how you were feeling about that. But that's cool. Storm as well for your first cosplay, and something that you continue doing as well. You said you did the black suit version first.
Yes, I did.
For your first time, not the white suit version. Okay,
not the white suit version.
Interesting. All right, we're gonna talk about Storm in a little bit as well, but that's interesting to know. Here on the show, and there's nothing wrong with it. It consists of a lot of talk about Marvel-based topics, DC-based topics, and then I would say, gaming kind of gets thrown in here and there. But something that I'm personally a big fan of, and I don't get to discuss too often, is horror. And I rarely get to talk about things in relation to like horror movies or anything, unless it's kind of in my past around Halloween. I've done some like Halloween-centric episodes where I did like Halloween movie brackets and stuff like that, and those are really fun. But I would normally do them back in the day when I had a co-host, for anybody that's been around for that long, and doing like Halloween movie, like horror brackets, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like where you pin them against each other, and then at the end, two go in a finalist, and then one wins, like the best movie or something like that. Those are only really cool to do like in a show format if you have like one other person with you or multiple people. So I don't do those by myself anymore. It's not a thing, but I digress. You yourself, you're not only covering within cosplay the likes of comic characters and also gaming characters, which we're going to get into in a little bit later, but you also have horror-based horror-based cosplays or things, existing in like the horror-like universe, not limited to, but in this particular case, Candyman. And this thing is awesome. I featured it as a cosplay of the week as well. Walk us through bringing your Candyman to life, because you have this one photo specifically that I want to highlight that, raises eyebrows for sure. By previous guest on the show, Brian Cox Photography, the Candyman get up, the hook, the bees coming out the mouth. Like, what's practical? What's an edit, if any? Like, how did you achieve the Candyman look?
Last year, I don't remember, I guess late summer, early fall, BlurredCon had announced their theme, which was horror. And I was like, perfect time to do Candyman. I've been sitting on this for a very long time. I'm so ready. In November, Tony Todd passed away. And I was like, I don't know if I'm still going to do this. But then, later on, they mentioned that his sister will be there as a guest. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this to my best ability. And I was researching ways I could do this. And I hated all the fake bees. I absolutely hated it. And I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I went on Etsy and I saw that farmers sell dead bees. This is a thing that people sell.
Way.
So I was like, you know what? Let's do it.
No way, dude.
I was like, let's do it. So it was so funny. I had some family over and they were like, what, why do you have dead bees in your house? What is this? I was like, don't worry, you're going to help me do this.
That's
so
crazy.
So I had because, with the dead bees, they lose a lot of their color. So I end up painting them this super shiny.
Turned into like taxidermy or something,
And honestly, yes. It was taxidermy.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I painted them with this super shiny fingernail polish to kind of make them pop. And then I started getting into prosthetics. It was my first time in prosthetics as well when I did the honeycomb
yeah,
thing.
On your cheek, and on your forehead
which
too.
is more so seen in the latest version of Candyman. I think that came out in 2020 or something like that. I don't know. It was a lot of research, but I was so excited because I had a huge obsession with Candyman. Seeing this black figure in the horror scene, and he's not someone that kind of it's murdering people left and right. It's someone that kind of creeps up on you,
right.
You're not sure if he's there or not. You're not sure if you're hallucinating. And it's of course he has this whole backstory into a whole bunch of other stuff when it comes to slavery and all that kind of stuff. But
I think he was the first iconic black character in horror, right?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. His voice was just so profound.
Yes. Yeah.
And the kind of I guess you can call it kind of poetry. His script in the movies was just so haunting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was obsessed.
Yeah.
And
absolutely amazing. I mean, you did a phenomenal job with it. And that was, you kind of answered it right now. That was going to be one of my questions, what drew you to the character. But I guess right there is kind of what drew you to it. I mean, what elaborating on that a little bit more, what drew you to that specific side of horror? Did you have any other horror characters that were in mind? Was this, okay, I guess it's a two-part question. Was this your first horror-based character that you've cosplayed? And then did you have any others outside of Candyman that you were thinking of doing, but you ultimately went with Candyman?
Well, I don't know if Castlevania is necessarily horror, but
I guess in a way, kind of.
Kind of.
I mean? Yeah.
But I guess Drolta is my first. Okay. And then I did Edward Scissor Hands.
Right. You did an Edward before you did Candyman, right?
Yes.
I thought so.
I did Edward Scissor Hands for a shoe. Okay. And then I brought both Candyman and Edward Scissor Hands to BlurredCon.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just Candyman is top tier, kind of cosplay when it comes to horror for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the bees. It's because I also had this thing on where it's stomach and ribs are exposed too.
Oh, damn.
I know you can't see that in the shot that Brian took.
Yeah. No,
because it's Candyman has that portion. Thing.
You can see a tiny portion of it. I didn't realize that until you just said it. Now I see what that is more. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I was like, if you give me the opportunity, I'll do it.
Yeah. No, it's phenomenally done. And what I like is that you don't see it too often. You see a lot of Freddy cosplays, Michael Myers even, because Michael's pretty easy to do. No shame to anybody that does that. I don't mean it in a disrespectful way. You see a lot of Jason Voorhees as well, but you don't see a lot of Candyman. At least I don't, in my personal opinion. I'm sure there's cosplayers out there that do them, so forgive me, but I don't see them a lot. And the whole bee aspect that you incorporated into your cosplay is phenomenal. just absolutely phenomenal. Like
Thank you.
it's just such a job well done. And speaking of like Freddy and Michael Myers and Jason and everything, you know, I love me some Candyman. I'm one of the ones that I don't feel like he gets mentioned enough either in horror movie topics and whatnot conversation, but I love me some Candyman. I love the classics, of course, like I said, Freddy, Michael, Jason. I even love, you know, Jeepers Creepers, Leatherface. You know, I'm a huge horror fan. I'm a fan of like The Shining and Doctor Sleep even. Did you see Doctor Sleep? Did you see the sequel?
I didn't see it yet.
Okay, like I really actually recommend Doctor Sleep, which is, in case anybody didn't know, Doctor Sleep is the sequel to The Shining, and it's something as classic as The Shining. I was like super skeptical about us when I heard that a sequel was getting announced. This was back in 2019, and I was like, oh man, please don't ruin the classic that is The Shining.
That's why I didn't watch
you know,
it.
I have to say, in my personal opinion, I think they did a really good job with kind of like doing their own thing, but still honoring what The Shining was. Like I feel like they did a great job. And then of course I have like a super long list of other horror movies that I love. We could be here all day, but I'm curious, like before we go into more comic based stuff, what are some of your top horror movies? Like, do you have a list of sorts, like of your top, whatever it may be, top 5, top 10, like even if it's, you can't put it in an order, just, you know, what are your top horror?
You know, even though like we talked about, like, you know, there's a ton of like Jason and all that kind of stuff. I'm a big Carpenter fan, like the director, anything that he produced in the 80s and 90s. The reason why I love anything that he produced is just like back then, you didn't have like all this CGI and like all this other kind of stuff. So like I watched so many documentaries on like how people produce things. Yeah. You know, being creative and trying to like make like blood, like, or like the cuts of like, you know, just trying to create things and just, I don't know. I just love the creativity like back in like the 70s, 80s. It's just,
it's unmatched.
It's amazing.
Yeah. There's something just, like practical effects and things like that, and just the way that things were done. It's exactly that. You had to get creative because you didn't have all the CGI and the things that you have nowadays. So you had to get creative with it. And sometimes there are things that look, you know, cheesy by today's standards, but then there's other things where you're like, wow, like it almost still looks better done this way than it does with CGI. And this is like, I'm going to go to like a totally like different area from horror to Disney real quick, but it just, it just reminds me, because Tyre and I, Paper Moon Cosplay, we've been going on a spree of like having each other watch movies that we've never watched. Like I'll tell her about movies that, you know, have you ever seen this? And she's like, no, I never seen it. Okay, we got to watch it, you know? And then she does the same with me. And it goes all over to genres and different types of movies. But right now it's kind of like we did the Hunger Games because I've never seen them. Right now we're on a kick of movies that I've never seen. And we did the whole Hunger Games franchise. I actually really loved it. And then we did the whole Narnia franchise, really loved it. And then right now we're kind of doing some animation, and it just happens to be like Disney animation. We watched like Treasure Planet. I don't know if you've ever seen that. That was my first time watching that. And then Anastasia, we just started that. We didn't get to finish it last night because I wasn't feeling good. But Anastasia, I don't know if you ever watched that. It's like about the Russian. Yeah. So that was my first time like seeing that too. And where I'm going with this though is to circle into horror in some sort of way, is the way that the animations were drawn for like Treasure Planet, for Anastasia, because I believe that Anastasia was 1997, I believe. I don't remember Treasure Planet, but I think it was still the 90s. If not, it was like 2000 or 2001, so it was still kind of early. Where you can see that they were still hand drawing things, but kind of experimenting with like 3D or like couple things here or there and ways of different styles of animation. And again, bringing it to the conceptually to the same point as horror, like doing practical effects, it made me think about animation and the way that they make animation now. And then I'm watching these old 90s animations, watching them back, watching some for the first time. And I'm just like, man, like some of these hand-drawn animations have so much more character to them than they do with just like the animated, you know, computer animated stuff, you know? And so my point again, like I said, is practical effects for horror versus some of the CGI stuff. Like some of it is just so much more character, so much creativity. And then it's the same thing for like sometimes with animation. Like, don't get me wrong, animation, like I know it's still not like super, super new, but something like WALL-E, one of the best Disney movies in my opinion, you know, Pixar, I believe did Pixar Disney, you know, and that is, you know, computer. I don't think they hand drew anything. Don't forgive me. I don't know. I'm not sure. But like WALL-E, even like Toy Story, where they did more computer stuff and everything, like those, it fits. It looks amazing. It looks great. But there's just something also about like, you know, I don't know, Snow White, or for instance, like the old stuff back in the day, Winnie the Pooh and like hand-drawn stuff. It just has this like character to it, from practical and horror to animation and hand-drawn and in hand drawn in animation. There's just something about like the 80s, the 90s, the 70s for horror and stuff like that. There's just something about the creativity to it that.
No, I completely agree. Like what's coming to my mind right now, and I can't remember which horror film this was. This could have been like Halloween or something. I don't remember, but I studied like graphic design back in college. But I was chatting with my professor back then about like my obsession with like horror films, and he was talking about the opening credits for one of these horror films. I wish I could remember, but the name of like the people involved in the film, like it was like written in blood, and the person who was doing it, they were talking with the team about like trying to like use like some type of like feature where they could like create like the letters would be in blood and it'll like move across the screen. Yeah. And he was like, you know what? I'll just do it myself. So like he spelled these names out in like prop blood or whatever, but then he like took a straw and kind of blew it away instead of like having all these kind of like, I don't know, whatever, try to like create that. But I don't know, it's just like something like going through the process of like making things happen has always been like a thing for me. And I think that's why I like how horror films were done back then. Because you learn so much like through process of like trial and error. I don't know. I love it. And I know it probably looks so like childish watching some of these movies these days, but I don't know.
There's something about it. There's something about the creativity and the time put into it. You know what I mean? Like the same. We're going off on a whole other tangent, but the same could be said about like stop. What is it called? The stop motion animation and stuff like Nightmare Before Christmas, for instance. You know what I mean? Like if people don't know, I think it's pretty common knowledge now. But if people don't know, like that takes like so much time. Like having to move everything and film it and move it and film it and film it. Like
don't judge me. I still watch Robot Chicken.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Yeah, like it's just something about the creativity that goes into it and the time and the effort. It's like they earned that. You know what I mean? They earned it. It's crazy. We talked about your Storm cosplays a little bit when you were talking about getting into cosplay and how you got into it and everything. And you have a couple different Storm cosplays from X-Men, of course, that you've done. You have the classic white suit that looks absolutely amazing. It's one of my favorite Storm iterations to see played out in cosplay, just because it holds a special place in my heart from the 90s. But you also have the black suit iteration, but also with a twist, as you have your Marvel Zombies Storm. And there's photos that are going to be thrown up here by NY Cosplayer, by Mixed Light Photo, and all equally phenomenal. Now, I know that you did this big shoot, a Marvel Zombies versus DC Vampire shoot with a plethora of other people, many previous guests and or cosplays of the week here on the show as well. How did Zombie Storm come about? Was it specifically for this shoot, or did you already have the cosplay previously or have the idea previously? Like, walk us through the process of bringing your Zombie Storm to life, from the idea to the execution to any hurdles you had, if any. I mean, just the whole 9 yards.
Well, I think it was like Jen the Geek and Outlaw Arkham that came to me and are like, we're thinking of this idea. NYC Cosplayer too. Yeah. We want to do this like zombie versus like vampire thing. And that's when they introduced me to like the whole comics of that series. And actually my first thought was like, oh, I would love to do Mystique or like Starfire or something. Nice. And they were like, no, Atina, we want to do And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I love Storm. I'm kind of tired, but when they said it, I was like, you know what? Maybe I should, because right before then, I did Candyman. I did the prosthetics and all this stuff. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I really enjoyed using these prosthetics, and I love the way Storm looked in these comics, like her as a zombie. Yeah, so I was like, you know what? I'll try it, and I had used pieces from like an old Storm cosplay that I did, but. Yeah, it was the same company that I used for the prosthetics. I want to make sure I shout them out. I think it's like Horror FX.
Okay.
And if you're looking for prosthetics, please use them, because they come in so many shades and they're so easy to use. So definitely, if you're looking for prosthetics, use them.
Interesting.
But seeing the people who were attending this shoot, I was like, I have to bring my A game. Yeah. So I was just like, I have to make this as good as possible. And I saw like Critical Mass was going to be there and stuff. I was like, I'm going to make this happen. But I was so excited how it turned out. At first, I was a little nervous to kind of see myself with like the zombie sunken eyes.
Yes. It's crazy looking. It's crazy. And you blended everything really well. Like you blended everything really well, even down to like your shoulders and everything, like going all the way down from the face to the top right there with like the like black bruising on like your forehead and everything. Like it just all it like beautifully came together. Like you fit in so well. Speaking on the shoot itself, like how did the Marvel Zombies versus DC Vampires shoot come about in the first place? Like, and what was like the day and the process like of doing such a big group shoot, combining not only Marvel and DC together, but like even adding those extra elements of, you know, zombies and vampires? Like, do you have were you involved in any sort of like the behind the scenes of like how people decided what they were going to choose? And then, like I said, like how, like the day of, like how was that all? Like, just give us some insight on shooting something as crazy as that.
Sure. Like I said, I think this was more so like NYC cosplayer kind of falling in love with this, the comics that came out with like the zombies and the vampires, and they were like, they're going to bring this to life. And I was like, okay, I'm there. So this was just like a dream that people were like really obsessed about. And I love that. And the location of it, I think it was like through Mixed Light's job.
Oh, okay.
So this was out in Long Island at like an aviation place. And it was like the perfect location. They decided to get all these photographers involved, like I mentioned, Rod and Stephanie and King.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the cosplayers that were involved was like, they were known for cosplaying certain characters. Yeah. And then the day of it was just like amazing. Like it was so nice to go there and just see everybody like come with their A game and just so excited. It was amazing, honestly. And the energy was such a vibe. I really loved it.
I bet. Yeah. Everybody looked amazing in this. I saw some behind the scenes. I got sent some behind the scenes when you guys were doing it and stuff. And then I think Lorenzo was there too. Was Lorenzo there for that one, or was he not there for that one?
No, he wasn't.
Was for Lorenzo was for the that was for the Venomized one they did too, right? I think they did a Venomized one. I
saw that shoot. That was a different one.
Okay, yeah. I think it was Outlaw that sent me some stuff. I know I got sent both some behind the scenes, like just sharing some stuff because we were talking about it. I can't remember who sent what. I think I'm confused with two different shoots, but I know I saw some behind the scenes of the Marvel,
they had like
the Zombies one
shoot.
too. Yeah, they had a Venomized one too. Yeah, I'm mixing both up because I got behind the scenes for both, and they were showing me stuff, and I was like, man, it looks so cool. Like, because for both of them, I think Lorenzo had hit me up for the Venomized one and was like, talking to me about like how he wishes I was there so I could do videography for it. And I think it was Outlaw that sent me the Marvel, the zombies and vampires one. I think it was him. I think we were talking about stuff as well, and he was showing me like the progress leading up to it, like of what he was doing and everything with his stuff. And I was just like, oh man, like I wish I was there, like the stuff that we could shoot and stuff, because there was some video that was done too, right? With was that again? I can't remember because you guys do so many group shoots out there, man.
So many people there.
Yeah, and then you guys do the Mortal Kombat shoots as well, and the Street Fighter ones, and I'm like, I can't keep track anymore. But was the Marvel Zombies one? Did you guys have a smoke machine at that one, or was that a different one?
Yes. That's
okay.
That's a shot that NYC cosplayer did, and he was like, use this smoke thing, and I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, and that's like when my storm and like the smoke was coming off my head. Yeah, I was like, sure.
Okay, it is that one. I am thinking of that one. So yeah, I saw stuff like with that too, and I was like, man, this looks so cool. Absolutely amazing, man. I wish I was a part of that. You guys absolutely killed it. I want to talk to you a little bit more about some stuff, but before we do that, let's break up the monotony and let's get into this week's Cosplay of the Week. Oh, and this week's Cosplay of the Week is none other than Cosmic Lils, and I'm throwing it up on the screen right about. You can't see me because it's under the table, but I'm doing like a high kick right now with my right leg. How? And it is of her, and I'm throwing it up on the screen right about now. Forgot to do that. It is of her, Cammy from Street Fighter 6, and the photo is by Anthony Yang Photography. Absolutely phenomenal photo, by the way. Like this is amazing, and there's like a carousel in this photo. It's pinned, I believe. Hopefully by the time this episode comes out, it's still pinned. But it's pinned on Cosmic Lil's Instagram. I think it's like the second one that's pinned. And it's like a carousel of a couple different shots. And she has one where she's doing, I think it's like this. Where she's doing, or it's like this, I think. I don't know. And it's like an actual, from the game. It's like a pose from the game, and absolutely phenomenal. And I can't quite tell. Some of it looks like, this is for the photo, some of it looks like there's some editing involved, but I'm also curious. I wonder if there's like a smoke machine involved, any practical stuff going on. Not quite sure, but either way, regardless, absolutely amazing, just phenomenal. From the photo to the effects to the editing to Lils herself portraying Cammy. She does this version of Cammy. She does the other version of Cammy with the green bodysuit and all that stuff. Absolutely amazing. From the gauntlets to the jacket to the hair to the boots and everything. I mean, just flawless, just absolutely flawless. And she pulls off the poses, like I said, in the carousel. We're only looking at one right now on the screen, but in the carousel, go check out the rest of them. Phenomenal, just perfectly done. And I want to throw up a second shot here, and I'm throwing it up on the screen right about now. And it is of her Rogue cosplay, which is also featuring Gambit. And Gambit is done by Foggy Night 14, a previous guest and cosplay of the week on the show way back. Gotta have you back on, Foggy. It's been quite a long time. Gotta have you back on. We'll do a special episode where you come back on with somebody else, and we'll talk about, different topics in pop culture and stuff. Photo by Bryant Cox Photography, a previous guest on the show as well. And I gotta throw in some Marvel love, of course. I'm trying to throw in. I've said this. I think I said it during Moonberry's cosplay of the week, which, by the way, if you're only watching this on Instagram as a cosplay of the week clip and you didn't tune into the full episode, we have guest this week, Moonberry Pie, and we're talking about all flurry, a bunch of different things from her horror cosplays to her Marvel cosplays to her Mortal Kombat cosplays. Check out the full episode if you didn't. And I was talking to her, I believe, and I think I don't know, I can't remember. There's so much going on, but I was talking during her cosplay of the week where I said I wanted to feature more cosplays like kind of outside of just Marvel and DC. I wanted to feature more horror cosplays. I wanted to feature more gaming cosplays and things like that. So I wanted to feature Lil's Street Fighter, but I also still gotta show some love to like Marvel and DC. The comic-based stuff is our bread and butter here. So gotta show some love to her Rogue, and it's phenomenal. You know what I mean? She's looking amazing in it. The getup is just perfect. She pulls it off. She's got the look for it. Standing there with Foggy as well. I believe this is a carousel of them. They got a couple different shots, and this portion it's all love to Lil's, but we'll throw some love to Foggy as well. Looking amazing as Gambit with the cards and everything, and the perfect leather jacket. You guys pull this Rogue and Gambit shot off absolutely perfectly, man. Guest this week, Moonberry Pie. Before we wrap this segment up, do you have anything that you want to add about Cosmic Lil's cosplays of the week?
I absolutely love her Cammy, her Alpha Cammy. I saw her at Cosplay World and I was just like, oh my God, that is so good.
Right.
I actually have that cosplay and I haven't done it, but I'm just like, she's inspired me to pull it out.
Yeah,
Yeah, she looked amazing at Cosplay World.
Yeah, she really did. And I don't know if it'll be out by the time, I don't think it'll be out by the time this episode comes out, but spoiler, I did an interview with her live at Cosplay World, and that'll be out at some point. I think she's the next one that goes up. I just don't know exactly when we're doing that yet. But, and she's just, she's full of life. She's very like personable and just happy. And we had like a great little interview, and she was super passionate about Spider-Man. I loved it. And so Lil's, with that being said, this is also your invitation. I would love to have you on the show at some point in time and talk with you about all kinds of different things. You seem like an absolutely awesome person. I've met you like once or twice, I think, but absolutely phenomenal. So if you're not following Cosmic Lil's, that's Cosmic_Lil's on Instagram, please go do so right now, because Cosmic Lil's, your Cammy and Rogue cosplay of the week for me and Moonberry Pie is amazing. All right, Moonberry Pie. I said I wanted to talk to you about a few more things, and we are. But before we do that, I want to throw a little bit of a curveball at you. And I want to get into a segment that I like to call Shotgun Questions. And what Shotgun Questions is a little bit more of a rapid fire segment that never ends up being rapid fire. That's kind of the irony of it, and that's okay. We always end up having a little bit of a conversation about it, and it's a series of 3 questions. It's nothing serious. It's all fun and games. So let's see how much fun we can have when I ask you. Detailed logistics aside, you have to build a team of 6 characters to fight off a threat on Earth. This could be a team that is comprised of superheroes or villains across the Marvel Universe, DC, or any other comic-based company. This could also be mixed with gaming characters or any other forms of pop culture. You have to build a team of 6 characters to fight off a threat on Earth. Who are your 6?
Storm.
Okay, Storm. Nice. Yes.
This is so hard. Okay,
yeah. This is why I say it's never rapid fire. This is why, that's the irony of it.
Okay, I say Storm. I'll say I'm going to stick with Marvel for now. Wolverine.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough. Don't worry about it. Superman. Okay.
Superman. Have to do Superman. That.
Sindel. Oh man, what a pick. People don't pick Sindel enough. That's awesome. Yeah. Storm, Wolverine, Superman, Sindel from Mortal Kombat, 2 more.
I have to say Reptile.
Love it. Yeah. And then rounding it out, you got 1 more pick.
I'm just going to say Batman.
Batman, yeah, all right, there you go. You got somebody that's going to put a plan together. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Someone
he's going to organize it.
Yes, he's going to organize it. 'Cause you got a few people in there that are just going to go crazy. You know what I mean? So and just make things happen. So I like it. Okay, let's see. Out of I got to ask you, since you picked Batman, I got to ask you a Batman question. Out of these Batmen in film, you've got Keaton, Bale, Affleck, Pattinson. You can only choose one, and the rest and their universe cease to exist. Who do you pick?
I feel like people will hate me. the last one,
Pattinson, all right. Yeah, hey, no, a lot of people actually, surprisingly, a lot of people pick it. And one of actually the most used reasoning behind it is because it's so different and fresh and the potential for it moving forward. A lot of people pick that because they're like, well, Keaton, we saw everything we need to see with Keaton. Bale, yes. It's done. We saw everything we need to see with Bale. Affleck, some people, hate it. Some people like it. Some people wanted to see more. But either way, it's over. It's not happening. And so people often tell me like Pattinson, I'm going to go with that because the potential, let's see where it goes. Let's see.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I dig it. I dig it. All right. Last question. If you could time travel to any time period, any era, where would you go and why? And you can have up to 3 different choices. Where
Definitely the past.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to go back to our conversation that we had earlier. I think I'm young. I'm a 90s kid, but I wish I could go back to like the 70s, 80s, just so I could appreciate horror films even more. Because it's like I watch it as an older person, but I wish I was there when like it premiered and I was old enough to get in and watch it.
Yes.
Again, I just seeing all the creativity and stuff like that, just to be there in person and see like, the new Freddy Krueger movie that came out, the new Halloween movie that came out.
In the moment. Yes. Because like if you go back and you watch like old horror movies and say you're somebody of like a younger generation where you didn't grow up on it at all and you're used to seeing like today's horror and then you go back and watch those others, it kind of, I guess it depends on the person you are because there's some people like that are enamored by the past and they love it. But then there's other people where it doesn't hit them the same because they're like desensitized to it with everything that we have today, So they're like, oh yeah, that's cool. And like, even for like our generations, we're kind of like, what? Like that shit's amazing. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? But it doesn't hit them the same, because they have everything they have today. So to see those things in the moment, you're right. You know what I mean? It would probably hit you so different, Like my dad is still to this day terrified of oh man, what's it called? Oh man, I'm drawing a blank. Oh, the Exorcist, right? Yeah, The Exorcist.
Yes.
There we go. Wow, I don't know why I just drew a massive blank. The Exorcist, like that, he said it terrified him as a kid. Terrified him, But
like imagine like nothing like that has come up before.
Yes.
You had
That's
this like
right there.
sort of religious thing, where everyone is like, practicing religion and there's no like horror movie questioning that.
Yes.
So like to see that in that moment where it's like causing all these like, because there was like so much backlash when it came out too.
Controversy for that movie as well. Yeah, religious stuff. Like, people lost their mind. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah.
Seeing this crazy girl like spin her head and like vomit. It's just
that's the thing. My dad said it's still to this day. He's like, I can't watch that movie. It traumatized me since a kid. And I'm just like, and I watched it. And I know I just said this like they don't, but for instance, for me, like The Exorcist, I understand it. I get it, but it's not like one of my, I don't know if to be honest with you, this is a crazy take. I don't know if The Exorcist is in my top 10. And I know a lot of people would be like, what, dude? But for me, it's just like, I don't think it is. And I've watched it several times. It doesn't hit me the same way that it hit my father. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it is a little bit of that, like, they didn't have anything like that. And growing up, I had already watched other things that were in that realm, I guess. And then I went back and watched The Exorcist, and I was like, oh yeah, this is like a good horror movie, but it's not hitting me the same way that it hit my dad. You know what I mean? So same concept with people that grow up, younger generations today with going back to like the 70s and 80s. Like, it doesn't hit them the same. So seeing it in the moment, I totally get it. Yeah. You got 2 more choices if you want it. So somewhere around the 70s, 80s, and then 2 more choices if you want it.
Okay. My second one is like being a full adult in the 90s, I guess. I have to say.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I was a child.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. Yeah. No, a lot of people pick that. A lot of people pick that. Some people pick like you said, I was like a kid. How old was I in the 90s? Definitely like a little kid, man. But some people pick the 90s like they want to. What I see a lot is like a teenager.
Yes.
A lot of people want, or like a young adult, like a teenager going into like a young adult. They say they want to experience the 90s in that time, like going to high school and like getting out of high school and being in the 90s and like driving around with your friends and like experiencing the, like all different types of music was just like booming at that
Exactly.
time, from everything from like
Exactly.
rock to grunge to hip hop, and Eminem coming out towards the ass end of it, and like you got the end of NWA going into Dr. Dre's like solo ventures, and Snoop Dogg coming out and like experiencing all that, Tupac, the death of Biggie, experiencing all of these things, and then from rock to grunge and all that kind of different stuff. Like there's so much. So like I feel that too, like being a teenager or an adult in the 90s is probably
going to hit on that. Like
total
my
difference than a kid.
brother, completely different. My brother is like 13 years older than me. And he lived in New York City during the 90s. So we like always talk about like the music and the movies. Like obviously I'm a big like movie fanatic, but like we always talk about like the Quentin Tarantino movies, like in the 90s, like Reservoir Dogs and like Pulp Fiction and all that kind of stuff. And of course the music, like I'm just like, I was too young. I was way too young for that. But I'm just like, if I was a full adult living in New York City, and like he's still a huge skateboarder, even though he's like 50 now. But like he was like that skateboarder in New York. He was like a model for Calvin Klein, and he was like he listened to that music and like all that stuff. And I was like, why did my mom have me so late? But I'm like so jealous, so jealous.
Yeah, that's a good pick. You can have one more if you want it, or you can stop it there. It's up to you.
I don't know. I kind of want to see the future, but like I'm like, today's enough.
We're living hard as it is already. I don't know.
I don't want to see where it's going, but I don't want to experience it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly. But those are awesome choices. Well, that was shotgun questions. Wow. Let's keep it going. You have a Reptile cosplay that you've done from Mortal Kombat. Naturally, I'm a fan of it. I do Reptile as well. Job well done. But before we get into talking about the cosplay, I want to ask you, since you're a big movie buff and everything, were you a fan of the recent Mortal Kombat movie, the 2021 release? Because amongst many fans, it got a lot of mixed reviews. Wasn't the best, could have been better, people say, but kind of just good enough to warrant a sequel. Like, how were you feeling, or how are you feeling about the 2021 MK release?
I'm just going to start off by saying I'm just happy we got a movie. So like,
it wasn't horrible. It wasn't horrible. Yeah.
It wasn't horrible. And, it was definitely like, a little better than the stuff that came out like in 96, I think.
Yeah.
The storyline where, was that Scorpion Sun?
I think so. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I was not a fan of that because
with Cole Young.
Yes.
Cole. Yeah, I don't know if it's his son, but it's a descendant, I believe, is what they labeled it as. Yeah, I can't stand that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Where did he come from?
What are we doing? Why was that even a thing? Like,
who's this guy?
Yeah, like it doesn't make any sense. There's so many characters to choose from across decades of Mortal Kombat. Why do we need to add a random character for the movie? Like, just pick the characters that are already there
from the game. Like, there's a son in the game. So like, why? I don't know. And then like, even him as like a character, I felt like he wasn't strong, like in a sense of like his abilities, I guess. It just seems kind of like pointless. But that's just one side of the movie. I'm just happy that like a Mortal Kombat movie came out, but I was not a fan of that.
Yeah, no, me neither. I can't believe that they picked him to beat Goro as well. Like, what a wasted opportunity to have Goro in more movies. Like, what? Why? And I talked about this years ago when it first came out. I did a whole episode, and there was actually an interview where they said that the reason for Cole Young's creation was to, quote unquote, bridge the gap from the gamers to the everyday moviegoers. But I won't go on a long tangent about it because I have more that I want to talk to you about. But just real quick, to bridge the gap from the gamers to the moviegoers to the general audience, you don't need it if you just create a good movie. You don't need it. The general audience, if you create a good storyline for film and introduce the characters that are already in the game, and you do a good job at introducing them, explaining them, portraying them, the general audience is going to understand as they're watching the movie. It's called good story. It's called good writing. Like, just write a good story and introduce the characters, and you'll please the general audience if that's the movie they like. You also got to kind of think, I know that from a marketing standpoint, they want to get the general audience because it makes more money. But let's just be honest. Your general audience isn't your market. The gamers are your market. That's who you're catering to.
Exactly.
So I think you should cater to them first. And if you write a good story, you'll get the general audience as well. That's it. You don't need to bridge the gap.
Exactly. And the storylines, I mean, can't judge necessarily because I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan. But like the storylines in the game, every single game, it's so good. So just that could have been easily kind of followed up in a movie. I don't know. But like I think you're right. The fandom for it is like we're here and it's so global. Like I look at Mortal Kombat cosplays all the time on social media, and it's such on a global level. Like
it really is.
You didn't need to like try to appeal to outsiders. Like you said, if the storyline is good, the people's going to show up.
Yeah, exactly. It'll become word of mouth. If somebody doesn't know about it, it'll end up becoming word of mouth. Where they're like, oh, you don't really know Mortal Kombat. You don't really like Mortal Kombat, but I'm telling you, go watch this movie. It's actually really awesome. Like that's what it'll be. And then people will go see it, and then more people will go see it, and it'll just become word of mouth.
Exactly.
But your market base is the gamers. You didn't need to bridge the gap. What are your thoughts about what we've seen from the sequel so far? You've seen the trailers for the I think it comes out in October, I believe, right? Doesn't it come out in October?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Me too, actually. Yeah.
It looks so good. I know there was like some negative feedback. Oh yeah.
Hopefully it is. Hopefully it's not just trailer.
I think it'll be. I like the people who they have in it. I know some people are like, I don't know. The only negativity I've heard is like Jade being bald, and I'm just like, who cares?
Yeah, that's really the only thing that I saw that was negative too is Jade being bald. I saw a few people, but not as big as Jade being bald. I saw a few people saying that they didn't like Baraka's design, and they didn't like his voice. They thought it should be more like the games where it's raspy. His voice is more like Thanos-like, where it's just like big and like broad and deep. I don't know. I kind of agree, but it's not really something that's like pissing me off. I don't really care that much.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me necessarily.
Yeah, it's like whatever. Jade being bald, I saw an interview or something, or someone made a statement from, I don't remember who, from the inside of the movie, behind the scenes, where they said, don't worry about Jade being bald. It'll be explained in the movie. There's a storyline reason for why she's bald. So I don't know what that could be. Like, I don't know why it really like matters, like her being bald and having hair. Like what the hell does that have to do with Mortal Kombat? You know what I mean? Like,
why is there a storyline for her being bald?
There's a storyline for her hair. I don't know. What are we doing? What like, who's the target audience for that? You know what I mean? Like bald people, I guess. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like you could be great even if you're bald. I don't know. I don't know where that storyline goes. But I'm stoked for it. I'm looking forward to it. I like the fact that Noob is involved. The ninjas are always my favorite. So I love that. I think Shao Kahn looks great. Some people were saying he kind of looks like Shredder with all the like metallic, stuff. They made it more metallic than he usually is in the games. I get it, but again, it's not a thing that bothers me. I kind of like it. I think it looks kind of cool. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward
excited.
to it. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with a lot of the like the design for the suits and everything, because I'm sure cosplayers are going to run with it like hell. I'm sure we all are. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to it. I know, for real. When it comes to Mortal Kombat and cosplay, I too, like you, I cosplay Reptile, and not too long ago, I just revealed my Ermac as well. And I know for me, believe it or not, for me, Reptile wasn't always one of my favorite ninjas. I love all the ninjas, don't get me wrong. But Reptile wasn't always at the top of my list, not only just to cosplay or anything, but just wasn't at the top of my list when it comes to the ninjas. Like most people, I would say Scorpion and Sub-Zero were my favorites, and always at the top growing up. But then as the game progressed and more were introduced, I actually fell in love with Noob, became one of my top favorites, and Ermac actually became one of my top favorites. And I'll even throw a curveball, and I'll say that for MKX, they made me a fan of Tremor even more, which is a ninja that does not get mentioned too much, because I like the fact that he was so big and bulky and just huge and muscular. And it was a design that you don't see in the ninjas. The ninjas they're muscular, don't get me wrong, but they're a little bit more sleek muscular, and Tremor was like a big bad, like Thanos, like huge. And I was like, that's really cool for a ninja. Wasn't until the MK1 game released that I played it, and I was enamored by the design of Reptile and the storyline of Reptile, to where I was like, oh, wow. And I really became more of a Reptile fan. And I was like, okay, I'm going to put all the ones that I want to cosplay into the back seat, and I'm going to go with Reptile first. For you, though, what went into your decision-making behind cosplaying Reptile? Was he always like a fan favorite of yours? Or like me, is there a different story behind it than meets the eye?
We had that first Mortal Kombat shoot like back in November. Like it was by like Brooklyn Bridge. I don't know if you saw pictures of it.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to do Sindel, and it was not coming together for the life of me. And I was like, you know what? She's not ready yet, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna focus on Reptile, and that was like the pictures that you saw in like January.
Yeah. Who did those pictures again? Because I forgot to put it up in front of me. I thought I did, but I don't have it here in front of me.
Dante.
Was it Dante?
Dante
okay,
and Mixlight photo. I have some great pictures from them too. And it was like a character that like I did like, but I actually fell in love with his character more when I cosplayed him.
Right, because it kind of made you look into it more or something, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Just like when I got into the cosplay, I feel like I got into character more, and I kind of like, I don't know. He always seemed like someone that could be easily forgotten, but like also misunderstood, and like
you
he had
nailed
his like,
it. Yeah,
he had his own storyline, and it was just like completely different from everyone else's. I felt like when I cosplayed Reptile, it was a bit of like a mix-up of like different games, because like I had like the painted on scales, but I also had like the mask, and like so it was like I felt like I did kind of like different versions of Reptile into one.
Yeah, no, that's always cool. And I'm looking at some right now by Mixed Light Photo as well. Amazing, with like the green going everywhere and everything. It'll be up on the screen, but for right now, I don't have it in front of me, so I'm looking at my phone. But yeah, I see like what you're talking about too with the scales and everything. And what I really like that you did, I didn't do it for mine. Mine's based off MK1, so I don't think he has it actually. But you did the contacts with like the reptile eyes.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. I actually love that. That's something that I wanted to incorporate into mine. Oh, the sound's playing. Those
contacts are a little funny though.
Are they? Is it hard to see out of them?
Yeah, they just tend to move.
Oh, they just
they're like clocks.
Yeah. That's funny. You have to. Are you fixing them like during photo shoots and stuff? Or
yeah. People were like, "Is he supposed to be like that?" I'm like, "Oh."
That's funny. Yeah, no, you pull it off flawlessly. No pun intended. But yeah, I really love it. I really do love it. Before we get up out of here, because I'm looking at the time. Before we get out of here, I want to ask kind of like your future in cosplay in general, and then also, I mean, kind of sticking with Mortal Kombat, and then you can venture into whatever you want. Like, since you talked about Sindel, like, are you going to do any other? Do you plan to do any other Mortal Kombat cosplays as well? Like, because have you done any of the female, like Jade or anything like that? Have you done any of those?
I have not, but I do.
I didn't think so. Yeah,
I do have one in the works as we speak, though.
Okay, yeah, okay. Did you tell anybody that? Because I feel like somebody might have mentioned it to me. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Maybe. So I plan on doing Mortal Kombat during New York Comic Con with Jen and Lilith. So I'm doing Melina.
Nice.
So
okay.
Yes. So I'm currently working on like I'm actually for the first time actually building my own prosthetic for like the mouthpiece.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Doing it yourself? That's creative. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm excited for it. So.
Did you, I don't recall seeing it. Did you ever do Sindel?
No.
It never ended up happening at all?
I feel like when I feel like it's perfect, then I'll do it. Or like close to perfect. Like Sindel is like hands down my favorite character from Mortal Kombat. I feel like people don't realize how powerful she is.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And it makes me sad when she's not like in certain movies or certain games too. I'm just like, Sindel.
I hope they do her justice in the movie. I hope they do her justice.
I hope so too. I hope so. But I just feel like I have to do her justice if I'm going to do her.
Yeah. I think you would make a great Sindel. That's why I was asking. I think it suits you. It fits you well. I think you could do some like crazy cool edits or something too, like with the hair. You know what I mean?
The hair.
Yeah, like something crazy. Yeah, it would look really cool. What aside from Mortal Kombat, you got anything that you want to mention? Of course, you don't have to. That you want to do, coming up for the future or anything that you're planning, that people can look forward to.
Well, I'm definitely trying to dive into more horror stuff.
Yeah.
So for New York Comic Con, I do plan on doing Pinhead with a little mashup of Sailor Moon.
No way. So cool.
I posted something that I really liked, and everyone's like, "You should do it." And I felt like they were low key bullying me, and I'm like, you know what? I think I will do it.
Okay.
The Batman Who Laughs, but like,
no way,
gender bend version.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah,
that's cool as hell. I could see you doing that too. I think that's another one that suits you. Are you going to try to have them both done by October or no? Yeah, try. I feel like that's I'm gonna try, but I don't know. I feel like
I'm gonna try my best. I'm gonna try my best.
That's cool as hell. I'm looking forward to it, man. This has been awesome. I hate to wrap it up abruptly and everything. There's so much that we could talk about. Like I say with everybody, we can't talk about all the cosplays that you have, or else we'd be here for like 4 hours, 5 hours talking about all kinds of stuff. But I always welcome you back as well. I do this thing for some people that know, some people that don't, where haven't done too many of them. I think I've only done 3, maybe 4 now, where you saw when we featured you as a cosplay of the week, how I had Googs and Tyre on at the same time. So what I do is now that you've been a guest at some point in time, could be, a few months, could be a few years. You never know how long it's going to be. But I always welcome you back with somebody else, with another guest, and it'll be like the 3 of us, and we'll talk about like it's less of the interview style episode, and it's more of just like talking about, whatever topics we want to talk about. Maybe it's movies, maybe it's games, maybe it's, whatever, maybe it's comics. Who knows? Maybe it's something outside of pop culture and something totally different, like just a conversation for like an hour of us talking about whatever it may be, But to switch it up, it's like having somebody that you haven't been on the show with before as well. So it's three of us, So I'll welcome you back to do that. And, maybe it could be a horror-based episode, you know what I mean? Maybe it'll be in October, and we'll have like you and Harley on or something, and we'll talk about like a whole horror Halloween episode or something. Who knows? You know what I mean?
I love that.
Just spitballing ideas. So I definitely welcome you back. I'm thankful that you made the time to do this. I'm stoked. I'm glad we got to talk, and hopefully at some cons in the future we'll be able to shoot more, and I can't wait. And I'm thankful that you did this. You got any last words before we wrap up?
Just thank you so much for having me. I was just so excited to yap about all of this, and just thank you for giving me the platform to do it. So
like I said, I'm glad we did it. I'm sorry we have to cut it short, but that's what the next one will be. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not following Moonberry Pie, please go do so right now. That's Berry, Berrie, and then Pie, Moonberry Pie on Instagram. Like I said, please go do so right now because she's absolutely amazing. And for everybody tuning in right now, thank you for watching, for liking, for commenting, for sharing, for doing all of those beautiful things that you do over on YouTube.com/Side Project Podcast, for liking and commenting and rating and following. When you go down, you hit that big red subscribe button, and you do it, and he goes, and you get 100 sexy Projekt points. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And if you do those same things, you follow and you watch on Spotify as well, because videos are available on Spotify. Once again, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you're looking for me, you can find me on Instagram at IG_Hates_Chazzy. That is my personal. And if you're looking for the podcast as a whole on Instagram, you can find it at Side Project Podcast. Remember, that's Project with a K. And Side Project merch available on sideprojectpodcast.com. For me, for Moonberry, for the new mug, for the new black mug. I really like it. Come on. Black with the white. It just pops. You know what I mean? Underrated consoles, Dreamcast, GameCube. Come on. You got to support it. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. For me, for Moonberry, we are out of here.